You just opened a random piece of junk mail expecting a credit card offer, but a thick stack of official-looking paperwork fell out instead. It has a court's name at the top, a case number, and your name printed right there in black and white. Someone has just sued you, and suddenly your chest feels tight, your mind is racing, and you're wondering if you need to hide your car or empty your bank account before morning. Take a deep breath. Panic is your absolute worst enemy right now. That stack of paper feels like a bomb, but it's really just a formal set of rules and deadlines. I'm going to walk you through exactly what this paperwork means, what happens if you ignore it, and the precise moves you need to make in the next 24 hours. This is everyday law for ordinary people, and we're going to break this down in plain words. Let's start with the actual problem. What you're holding is called a summons and complaint. A summons is a formal written notice from a court telling you that a legal action has been started against you and that you must respond. The complaint is the document attached to it, where the person suing you lays out exactly what they think you did wrong and how much money they think you owe them to fix it. The person doing the suing is called the plaintiff, which is just the legal term for the person bringing the case. You are now the defendant, which is the person accused of doing the wrong and who must defend against the claim. Now, you might be staring at that complaint and thinking it's total garbage. Maybe it's an old medical bill you thought was paid, or maybe it's a contractor claiming you owe them for work that was completely botched. Your first instinct might be to just throw it in the trash, assuming that if you don't acknowledge it, it will simply go away. That's the most dangerous and expensive mistake you can possibly make. Let me paint a vivid picture of exactly what happens when you ignore those court papers. If you ignore the summons and complaint, the plaintiff's lawyer will wait a few weeks. When you don't file a formal response with the court, they'll submit a completely one-sided story to the judge. They'll tell the judge exactly how much you owe them, and since you didn't show up to argue or correct their math, the judge will typically just agree with whatever number they wrote down. The court will then issue something called a default judgment against you. A default judgment is a binding court order stating that you officially lost the case because you failed to participate, and you now owe the plaintiff the full amount they asked for, plus any extra court fees or interest. Once that default judgment is entered, the court doesn't just politely ask you to pay. The legal system gives the plaintiff massive power to reach into your life and take your money by force. First, they can go after your paycheck. This is called wage garnishment, which is a legal procedure where the plaintiff's lawyer sends a court order directly to your employer's payroll department. By law, your employer must deduct a significant chunk of money from your hard-earned paycheck before it ever hits your bank account, and they must send that money straight to the person suing you. Imagine working a 12-hour shift, sweating through your shirt, only to see a third of your pay vanish before you even get to touch it. Your employer now knows you've serious financial and legal troubles, adding a layer of deep personal embarrassment. If they don't go after your wages, they can go after your bank account. This is called a bank levy, which is a legal seizure of the cash sitting in your checking or savings account. The sheriff can literally walk into your bank with a piece of paper, and the next time you try to swipe your debit card for groceries or rent, the screen will decline. You'll log into your banking app and see a negative balance because the court took your actual money to pay off that judgment. And if that isn't enough, depending on where you live, they might even place a lien on your property. A lien is a legal claim against your house or your vehicle that acts like an invisible chain. If a debt is 6 years old, but your state's statute of limitations for that type of contract is only 4 years, you can raise that as a defense. You're telling the judge they waited too long and the court should throw the case out entirely. But here's the catch. If you don't file a written answer with the court on time, you completely lose your right to bring up any of these defenses. The court will simply assume everything the plaintiff said is the absolute truth. If you've a legitimate reason to fight this, you need to get an attorney. A lawyer knows the exact formatting the local court clerk expects. They know the specific deadlines, and they know all the technical rules. When you're dealing with something that can take a giant bite out of your paycheck, you don't want to be guessing. How do you find one? Start with your state or local bar association. A bar association is a professional organization that licenses and regulates attorneys, and almost every single one of them operates a free lawyer referral service. You call them, tell them what kind of case it's, and they give you the names of local lawyers who focus on that exact area of law. Many of these attorneys will offer a free or extremely low-cost initial consultation just to look at your summons and tell you if you actually have a winning defense or if you're just delaying the inevitable. Let's talk about money, because you're probably sitting there thinking there's absolutely no way you can afford a lawyer. If you're being sued by a credit card company or a debt collector over an old, defaulted account, look into consumer protection attorneys. Many of these lawyers work on something called a contingency basis. A contingency fee arrangement means the lawyer doesn't charge you a single dime out of pocket for their time. Instead, their fee is contingent upon them winning money for you. Debt collectors frequently break strict federal laws, like the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. If a debt collector violated your rights, a consumer lawyer might take your case for free, sue the collector, and force the collector to pay the lawyer's legal fees. If you're being sued for something like this, searching for a free consultation with a consumer protection attorney can literally save your financial life. What if you know the debt is completely yours, and you know you actually do owe the money? You might still be able to negotiate a settlement. A settlement is a legally binding agreement where both sides compromise to end the dispute without continuing to fight in court. The plaintiff might agree to let you pay a smaller chunk of the total debt over time, just to guarantee they get some money without the hassle of a long trial. But here's a massive secret the other side doesn't want you to know: you've massive leverage to negotiate before a default judgment is entered. Once they win a default judgment, they hold all the cards and they don't have to negotiate with you at all. But if you file your answer, show up to court, and make them work for it, they often realize it's cheaper and faster to just accept a settlement. Sometimes, just filing an answer forces the other side to drop the case completely because they suddenly realize they don't have the paperwork to actually prove you owe them anything. The absolute most critical thing to understand about the day you get served is that you've power. The court isn't going to hold your hand, and the system assumes you know how to play the game. The paperwork is designed to look terrifying, but it's truly just a formal invitation to step into the arena and tell your side of the story. By taking a few hours to understand the summons, figuring out your exact deadline, and reaching out to a local attorney for guidance, you strip away all the fear and take back control of your paycheck, your bank account, and your peace of mind. If you were staring at a court summons right now, what is the very first phone call you'd make tomorrow morning? Tell me your immediate next move down in the comments below. If this breakdown gave you a shield for your kitchen table, please pass the video along to a coworker or family member who might be panicking over a random envelope they just pulled out of their mailbox. Make sure you subscribe to Scribble Law so you always know the exact rules of the game before someone tries to use the legal system against your wallet.